Hi, my name's Dan.
And I'm Susan, and today we're in a traditional Japanese puppet theatre located in Higashi Futakuchi, deep in the mountains of Hakusan City, Ishikawa Prefecture.
So here in this village, a traditional puppet performance has been practiced for many generations called Deku no舞.
So these are the puppets used in the theatre, and as you can see, without the clothes, they're very simple with few moving parts.
Yeah, very simple indeed. So this performance is called Deku no舞, and the Deku refers to the puppets that you can see here, and the Mai translates to dancing. So in total, you can say it's called the dance of the puppets. This also highlights a very special feature of this performance, where the puppets and the puppet masters become one and move together through expressive movements.
So this actually all began in the mid-1600s when young villagers ventured to Osaka and Kyoto, where they learned puppetry and brought it back with them to this village.
Wow, so it's got a really long history.
Yeah.
You know, they actually also protected and have preserved this ancient art for hundreds of years. Even within Japan, this type of puppet theatre is incredibly rare.
Right, because most of them have adapted with the times.
Yes, but this puppet theatre here has stayed traditional in its original form over all of these years. And this traditional puppet theatre was originally performed over the winter and enjoyed by the villagers when the heavy snowfall shuts the village from the outside.
Ah, I see. So we actually have another friend with us today.
Oh, who's coming today?
Gart.
Oh, Gart, cool, where is he?
I don't know where he is.
Yeah, I can't find him.
Hey!
Oh.
Hey, you guys are here to see the puppet show, right?
Yeah, we can't
Okay,
wait.
well, let's go sit back down and relax because it only takes 5 hours.
What? 5 hours?
We don't quite have 5 hours.
I thought you might not. So I brought the Japanese Kamishibai picture card theater.
Wow.
10-minute version. What do you think?
Oh, that
That's
sounds much
perfect.
better.
Okay, let's do it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hajimari,
Hajimari. A Japanese traditional folk tale.
The sake-loving demon. 1,000 years ago in old Japan, there was a great warrior named Minamoto Daiko who protected Kyoto, the capital city. One day, Daiko was with his 5 faithful retainers, Tsuna, Kintoki, Sadamitsu, Suetake, and Hosho. Hosho began to speak. There is a rumor afoot that a demon dwells at Rashomon Gate. They say it appears at night, making off with people and livestock, and eating them. One after another, the rest of them spoke up. I've also heard about it. Me too. Tsuna was alone in his response. There's no way any such idiotic thing could be true. You sound like fools believing such nonsense. He decided to go alone to Rashomon Gate that night to see if a demon would really appear. As he was about to reach Rashomon Gate, the wind suddenly began to blow. His horse shuddered and paused. At that moment, he felt his helmet yanked backwards. Unwilling to give in, Tsuna pulled loose the chin strap, leapt onto the stone steps, and turned around to find a great demon, as tall as the roof of the gate, towering over him. I am going to rip you to pieces and eat you, said the demon. When the demon stretched out his hand to do so, Tsuna turned, grasped his sword, and swung it down in a single movement. One of the demon's arms fell to the ground with a loud thunk. In shock, the demon jumped up onto the wall. Curses! I shall retrieve that arm, don't you forget! With that, the demon vanished. Tsuna was vexed at his failure to kill the demon, but he returned with the severed arm, which was rough like a craggy rock, and the nails of the fingers were bent like a dragon's. As Daiko presented a reward to Tsuna, he told him, the demon will certainly return for revenge before 7 days are completed. Be on your guard. Tsuna placed the arm in a sturdy box, closed the gate, and remained on careful watch. That same day at twilight, an old lady came to the mansion gate and knocked. I am no one suspicious. I am the wet nurse who cared for Tsuna long ago, she said. I keep having dreams that something bad is going to happen to you, Tsuna. Is there anything you can think of that might be causing them? She said. Tsuna then told her what had occurred at Rashomon Gate. Let me see this arm of which you speak, the old woman said. Tsuna took out the demon's arm and showed it to her, whereupon the old woman snatched the arm and attached it to her own shoulder. This is my arm. I'll take it with me. She rose to standing, transforming into a demon as he watched. Bursting through the wall, the demon fled. Stamping his feet in frustration, Tsuna shouted to the sky, I will find you and defeat you. Prepare yourself. After that, demons began to appear frequently in the capital to capture princesses. The daughter of Ikeda no Tsunagon was a girl of dazzling beauty who had been brought up with great care. Eventually betrothed to a young man of incredible nobility, she prepared for her wedding day. On the big day itself, a woman called on the princess at her mansion home. I have come to take you with me to prepare for the wedding ceremony, my dear princess. I am your servant. The princess left her home in the company of the woman. Soon after that, the real servant arrived at the home of the princess, but it was too late. In reality, the true form of the first servant woman was Ishikumadoji, another demon that also lived in Oeyama. Though they sought the whereabouts of the princess, they could not find a single clue. Her father decided to summon a fortune teller who said, This is the work of a demon that lives in Oeyama in the province of Tamba. Ikeda no Tsunagon hurried to the emperor with this news, and soon Naiko was ordered to vanquish the demon. Naiko gathered his retainers. It is well that we entreat the gods to grant us power in this endeavor. They all departed to make pilgrimage. Tsuna and Kintoki to the god of Kumano, Sadamitsu and Suetake to the god of Sumiyoshi. When Taiko took with him Hosho to pray at the mountain of Hashiman, the god himself appeared before their eyes. Go with confidence to defeat the demon. I will protect you. Naiko felt reassured. In preparation to battle the demons, they put on the robes of traveling mountain priests and packed armor, helmets, and swords into bags. Sometime after they left the capital, they came to the lower reaches of the mountain near Oeyama, but they could find no road beyond. Naiko asked an old man cutting the grass the way to Oeyama. The old man replied, pointing toward a lofty peak, The part that looks white on that mountain is actually the waterfall that cascades from the castle of the demons. Every once in a while it flows red with blood. They say it's a place where no human should ever set foot. Further along, amid the crags, they spied 3 old men in a hut thatched with grass. When Naiko called out to them, they responded, We will show you the way, but first you should stop here and rest yourselves for the journey ahead. According to the old men, the story went that the chief of the demons liked sake. That is why his name, Shutendoji, is written with the characters for the words heavy drinker. One of the old men handed Naiko some wondrous rice wine called Shimpenkidoku. If a bad demon drinks this wine, it turns to poison in him. But if a good human drinks it, his whole body is imbued with strength, he explained. Then the second old man took out a decanter with a long handle and held it out to Naiko. If you pour the sake from this, 1 cup after another will flow from it like a fountain. So no matter how much is drunk, it will never run dry. The third old man took out a star helmet covered with great iron rivets. No matter how powerfully it is struck, even if molten metal is poured upon it, as long as you are wearing this helmet, you will be safe, he said. Realizing that these 3 old men were the embodiments of the three gods of the shrines they had visited before they left the capital, Raiko was filled with gratitude. They made their way to the upper reaches of the river. There they found a young woman rinsing out a blood-soaked kimono. Tears fell in great drops from her eyes. "I was captured by the demon and brought here. The demon called Shutendoji cuts our arms and scrapes our legs and squeezes out our blood to drink like sake." After comforting the woman, all 6 of the men set off immediately toward the castle. The demon's gatekeeper spotted them in an instant. "I was just thinking, I'm hungry for a human. I think I'll rip one apart and eat it now." Another gatekeeper stretched out his hand, but all of a sudden a bloody-smelling breeze blew and lightning flashed. Before their eyes appeared a huge demon with red skin and wild hair. It was Shutendoji! "There is no road on this mountain that people can travel," he roared. "How did you manage to get here with your human bodies? Tell me now!" Raiko maintained his composure. "Through generations, we mountain priests have gone through intense training with hard discipline and magical powers. We thought we would look in on the capital to greet the spring, but we foolishly lost our way and quite unexpectedly ended up setting foot in this castle. Pray, allow us to offer you the sake we have brought." "First, I shall serve you," said the demon. He poured blood sake into a cup. Raiko maintained a nonchalant face as he drank, and then passed the cup to Tsuna, who was sitting next to him. Tsuna said, "This is wonderful. I have had fine sake from all over the country, even chrysanthemum sake from Kaga, but I've never tasted any as good as this." He regaled the demon with praise. Shutendoji was delighted. "Bring us some snacks to go with this sake." His henchmen brought in a cart loaded with freshly severed arms and legs. Smacking his lips, Raiko began to eat. "I'll have some too." Tsuna also dug in. Observing this scene, Shutendoji seemed to lose any sense of wariness. When Raiko poured him some of the sake they had received from the old Ben, Shutendoji drank it down. "I have never had such good sake as this," he said. "I think we should serve some to the empresses." He had 2 of the princesses who had been abducted from the capital brought into the room. Feeling in good spirits, Shutendoji started telling boastful stories. But all of a sudden, Shutendoji rose to his feet. "Actually, there is one thing I am concerned about. In the capital, there is a great scoundrel named Raiko. I gather he is exceptionally strong, and his 5 retainers are nothing to trifle with either. But the truth is they would never travel as far as here anyway. What do you mountain priests think?" Raiko and his retainers remained silent. Looking at you now, I'm wondering if you all might not be Raiko and his men," he said, grabbing an iron rod. But Raiko kept calm. "In the ancient past, the Buddha offered his own body to a demon who was hungry. We mountain priests are trained to think in the same manner. If you, Master Shutendoji, are hungry at any moment, I am willing to offer this body of mine. I do not value my life so much." Apparently reassured by these words, Shutendoji changed his tone and began to sing a song. He then ordered his fellow mountain demon, Ishikumadoshi, to dance. The demons and the mountain priests all began to sing and dance, and the drinking and carousing continued into the night. At last, Shutendoji was completely drunk, and he stumbled to his feet and moved into the darkness of the castle. The other demons laid down wherever they found themselves and started to snore. Raiko whispered to a princess, "Show me to Shutendoji's room." The band proceeded through a cave. Along the way, they met a princess who was soaked red with blood from cuts on her arms and legs. "Are you all right, princess?" asked Raiko. "We are all going back to the capital soon. We will take you back to your home." But she responded, her voice halting, "I have no strength left to return to the capital, but at least take a strand of my black hair and give it to my father and my mother as a remembrance of me." Then she said, "Please tell them to forgive me for the lack of filial piety I've shown by my dying before my parents do." She spoke through her tears, a pitiful sight. "I promise," said Raiko. Soon they reached a room with iron bars blocking the entrance. Through the gaps in the bars, they could see Shutendoji illuminated by candlelight. As Raiko stood there thinking what to do, the gods appeared once again. "Do not fear! Shutendoji's whole body is secured. Raiko, you must first cut off his head, and your men must then cut off his arms and legs." Thus speaking, the gods threw open the locked gate and vanished. The instant the men pushed their way into the room, Shutendoji awoke and shouted with a voice that would crush mountains, "You low-down mountain priest, try to trick me!" In an instant, Raiko raised his sword and cut off Shutendoji's head with one mighty swing. A moment thereafter, his retainers cut the demon to pieces. Shutendoji's severed head flew toward Raiko and bit down on his star helmet. Thanks to the helmet the gods had provided, Raiko was unhurt. The retainers cut the head loose and tossed it down. The rest of the demons soon came after them, one after another, but the 6 men finished them all off. Carrying the severed head of Shutendoji, Raiko and his men returned to the capital with the abducted princesses, to the great joy of the inhabitants. And the people of the nation lived happily ever after. Thank you! So what do you think?
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I'm really excited to see the actual puppet theatre version as well.
Right, it's going to be performed here in this village in February. It happens every year. You can see the details down below.
So come on down and
Check it out!
Deep in the mountains of Hakusan, there's a puppet tradition. 350 years of history. Deku no Mai. Deku no Mai.